Trading football whilst watching the game live on TV can be fun, as you get the opportunity to enjoy the game, but you also have the opportunity to make some money at the same time. However, the idea of live pictures when you're trading is in fact a myth. If you're watching football live on TV, the action that you're currently seeing at the moment is anywhere from a few seconds all the way up to 20 or 30 seconds behind what's actually happening on the pitch itself. This is down to how TV production works and down to satellites and stuff, but either way, there's a big delay from what's actually happening live on the grass itself compared to what's coming out of your television screen. What does this mean? Well, it means if you want to implement a strategy which is heavily reliant on what's happening over very short periods of time, like a few seconds or a minute, it can be very difficult to implement this strategy profitably over the long run. These types of strategies include scalping 1 or 2 ticks worth of profit in the unders goals markets on Betfair. When it looks like little is happening in the game, either the ball goes out or they're passing it around the back, you would back of the unders market and then lay a few seconds later to net a profit. I'm not going to say that it's impossible to profit from a strategy like this, but nowadays, the way that the game is played so quickly, the situation in a game can go from non-threatening to a goal rather quickly, and by the time you see the attack start to happen on TV, the market will already have been suspended when the goal has gone in 20 seconds later, and you won't have time to trade out of your position and get the profit. Instead, you have to cash out for a big loss. As well as the delay due to technology, there's also another thing that's working against you here, and that is Betfair's 5-second in-play delay for placing bets. So if you want to place a bet on Betfair, no matter if you're using software or just the website, as soon as you press confirm bet, you have to wait 5 seconds for that bet to enter into the market. So add that time onto the delay that's already there just through watching the game live on TV. You've got a massive disadvantage for yourself, and it's almost impossible to exit out of positions if something happens on the pitch. This extra 5-second delay gives you absolutely no opportunity to exit out of your trade at the appropriate time. Live pictures from TV are particularly slow. However, live pictures you can get on Betfair are actually much closer to being truly live than what you get on TV. However, even on Betfair there is still a delay between what's actually happening on the pitch and what you're seeing on the live stream, and you still have to add the 5-second delay on top of that, making it very hard as well to trust exactly what you're seeing live on the stream. Some of you might be familiar with the concept of courtsiding. So courtsiding is where you attend the game live in person, and whilst you're watching the game live in the stadium, you're also on Betfair on your phone at the same time, ready to enter into trades. So in football, you'll be trying to back a team that has scored, so you've seen the team score live on the pitch and you want to back it before the market suspends on Betfair. Let's say you're live at a game and you saw Team A score. On your phone, or whatever you would took to the game, you would have Team A already ready to place a bet, you'd have a bet ready queued, and as soon as the ball went into the net, you press confirm bet, in the aim of getting the bet match before the market suspends on Betfair. Sadly, I'm going to have to disappoint any people who are fans of courtsiding. I recently attended a football match myself in person. I managed to get internet access on my phone, which in itself can be a bit of a battle when you're at a live sporting event where there's loads of people. But I managed to get internet access and I had a look on Betfair because I was just curious about how long it would take when a ball goes into the net before Betfair suspended the market, meaning that you wouldn't be able to place any bets. And the result was that literally less than a second after the ball had gone into the back of the net, the market had already suspended on Betfair. Yes, less than a second. There is only one explanation that I can think for this. There has to be someone live at the game who has the ability to suspend the market whenever they want. Combine the fact that there's someone there live at the game suspending the market, plus the 5-second delay that still applies. It is literally impossible to back a football team that has scored before the market suspends on Betfair. Even if you're at the game live in person using Betfair on your phone. It wasn't even like I was watching an elite level football match. I was actually watching Wigan Athletic, who are currently, unfortunately, in the 3rd tier of English football. So if there's somebody at a game in the 3rd tier of English football suspending the game less than a second after a goal goes in, you've got to imagine that at elite level football matches across all of Europe's top leagues, that there's people at these games doing the exact same thing, suspending the market before you get any bets in there. Courtsiding may work for other sports. I've heard that it's worked on tennis apparently. Whether that's still true, I don't know. I've not actually attempted to do courtsiding, only looked at the market when I was curious, but I'm pretty sure that it's absolutely impossible to courtside on football matches. In order to do it, you'd probably have to go to some obscure game, like an Algerian under-21s match or something like that. In that case, there's probably no one there watching the game that has the ability to suspend the market when a goal goes in. So in that case, you could probably get into the market before the market suspends. However, there is that little money in these obscure football matches. Any profit you could possibly make doing this probably wouldn't cover the cost of travel of getting to Algeria to watch the game live in person. Before going on to explain what you can do given the fact that you can't get live pictures, I'd just like to take this moment to thank the Patreon supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel and get exclusive trading content, you can find the link in the description below. Okay, once you accept that you can't actually beat the in-play delay and the live pictures you're watching aren't actually live, what can you do about this? Well, you don't have to disregard watching games altogether. That's not what I'm saying. Yes, you won't be able to know exactly what's happening at precise seconds in games, but if you're good at game reading, you'll still be able to read what's happening in the game, be able to have an informed opinion about which of the two teams, if either, are more likely to get the next goal in the match. There is actually a downside of trading TV games exclusively. It is unlikely that you'll be able to find enough games that are live on TV which would meet the criteria that you've set out for your particular trading strategy. It's true that there's also many games that are on Betfair which are available for live streaming, which I also recommend watching when you can, if you believe yourself to be a good game reader. However, the more and more you trade football, and this is something that I'm finding out as I trade more and more football, you tend to find that to get enough opportunities you have to trade multiple matches at the same time. Whether this be at 3 o'clock when a majority of the English games are happening, or midweek in Champions League, or just at any point really, you're going to be looking for as many different opportunities in the markets that you can exploit for as much profit as possible. Instead of just watching one game that's live on TV and heavily relying on your game reading to be very good, you can simply be tracking multiple games at the same time in order to find as many opportunities as possible. And if you're tracking 5 games that you think have the opportunity to trade, it's not possible to watch all 5 of these games at the same time. And don't worry, I've tried that, having like 5 live streams on the screen at the same time. It's crazy, it's impossible to concentrate on that much information. Instead, you need to make judgments of games by looking at the in-play statistics, as well as your pre-game historical stats analysis that you've done before the game has taken place. I think this leads on to another problem when you're trading games live, and that is you can get emotionally attached to the game that you're watching. You might prefer one of the two teams that are playing on the other. The result of the game might significantly impact another team in the league, a team that you might support, and your will to want that result might make you think it's more likely to happen and make you want to back that outcome. Another thing is that if the crowd is up at any point, it might make you think that the home team is performing better than they actually are. These are just a few of the many ways in which watching games live can negatively impact your psychology as a trader, which is why it's important that in the ideal scenario, your decision to enter a trade is based on more than just one factor. The ideal setup for a trade is that number 1, you have found the game beforehand, before the game's kicked off, which meets the requirements of your trading strategy, whether that be no goals in a particular period or a higher chance of goals in a particular period of the game. Number 2, if you are watching the game either on Betfair's live stream or on TV, yes, obviously it's not live, but you can still get a reading of the game. Is that reading of the game matching your pre-match research on that game? If it is, we're doing well so far. Let's have a look at step number 3. And that is, don't just take your gut feelings opinion about the game as gospel. Go in and check the in-play statistics and the attack momentum to make sure what you actually think is happening is really happening on the pitch itself. Because as you know, when money's involved, your brain can start playing psychological tricks on you. If all this criteria has been met, at least you've done to step number 4, something very important. Simply relax. Don't panic and exit your trade too early. You have done all of your pre-match research. The game is adhering to what research you've performed. Yes, your trade can go wrong and a goal can go in at any time, because football is highly variable and unexpected things happen all the time. But your thought process, your reasoning for entering the trade was correct. Stand by that decision, and long term you'll have a greater chance of being profitable from Betfair trading. The way that you enter in and out of markets is an important aspect of trading. If you're interested in the way I set up when I'm Betfair trading on football, you can check out this video that I've got.